Intro music starts, then fades to background hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're journeying back in time to the sun-drenched sands of ancient Egypt to uncover the story of a woman whose name has echoed through millennia. She was a queen, a diplomat, a scholar, and a commander. She was the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt. Today, we're talking about the one, the only, Cleopatra. Now, when you hear the name Cleopatra, what comes to mind? A glamorous queen, draped in gold, perhaps being fanned with palm leaves? While she was certainly a figure of immense wealth and power, the real Cleopatra was so much more complex and brilliant than the popular image suggests. She wasn't just born into power, she fought for it, she schemed for it, and she wielded it with an intelligence that left even the mighty Romans in awe. Born in 69 BC in the bustling metropolis of Alexandria, Cleopatra the Seventh Philopator was part of the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek royal family that had ruled Egypt since the death of Alexander the Great. Forget what you've seen in the movies. She was of Macedonian Greek descent, not Egyptian. But what set her apart from her predecessors was her dedication to the land she ruled. She was the first in her dynasty to learn the Egyptian language, a move that endeared her to her people and showed her incredible political savvy. She also spoke a dozen other languages and was highly educated in mathematics, philosophy, and astronomy. This wasn't just a queen, this was a formidable intellectual. Her early reign was anything but stable. She initially co-ruled with her father, then with her two younger brothers, whom she was forced to marry according to custom. But Cleopatra wasn't one to share the spotlight. Power struggles were rampant, and a court conspiracy led by her brother's advisors forced her into exile. Did she give up? Absolutely not. This is where her story truly begins to intersect with the titans of Rome. While in exile, a determined Cleopatra saw her chance. Julius Caesar, the most powerful man in Rome, had arrived in Alexandria. In one of history's most audacious and famous maneuvers, she had herself smuggled past enemy lines, rolled up in a carpet, and delivered directly to Caesar's feet. Imagine the surprise and admiration Caesar must have felt. He was instantly captivated, not just by her beauty, but by her sheer audacity and intellect. This meeting wasn't just a romantic encounter, it was a political masterstroke. With Caesar's military backing, Cleopatra reclaimed her throne. Their alliance was both personal and political. She gave birth to their son, Caesarion, whom she declared Caesar's child and heir. This was a bold statement, a direct challenge to the Roman establishment. She wasn't just securing her own throne, she was envisioning a grand Greco-Roman empire, ruled from Alexandria by her son. She even followed Caesar to Rome, living in his villa and causing quite a stir in Roman society. Her ambition was boundless. But history, as it often does, took a violent turn. The assassination of Julius Caesar in 40 BC threw Cleopatra's world into chaos. Her Roman protector was gone, and her position was once again precarious. But a queen like Cleopatra doesn't stay down for long. The Roman world was now split between Caesar's heir, Octavian, and his powerful general, Mark Antony. And it was with Antony that Cleopatra would forge her next great alliance. Their meeting in Tarsus is legendary. Antony summoned her to answer for her loyalties, but Cleopatra turned the tables completely. She arrived not as a subordinate, but as a goddess. She sailed up the river Cydnus on a magnificent barge with purple sails, dressed as the goddess Aphrodite, surrounded by attendants. Antony was utterly spellbound. He had expected a queen. He found a living deity. Their partnership was one of the most famous in history. It was a union of love, passion, and immense political ambition. Together, they ruled the eastern Mediterranean, holding lavish courts and presenting themselves as new deities. They had 3 children and dreamed of a vast Eastern Empire, a counterweight to the growing power of Octavian in Rome. Antony even declared Cleopatra queen of kings and her children as rulers of various territories. This was a direct provocation to Rome and to Octavian. Octavian, a masterful propagandist, seized the opportunity. He painted Cleopatra as a dangerous, decadent foreign sorceress who had bewitched a noble Roman general. He used this narrative to turn Roman public opinion against Antony and Cleopatra, framing his impending war not as a Roman civil war, but as a defense of Roman values against a corrupt Eastern threat. The stage was set for a final, epic confrontation. That confrontation came in 31 BC at the naval battle of Actium. It was a decisive and disastrous defeat for Antony and Cleopatra's forces. Their fleet was outmaneuvered and destroyed by Octavian's navy, commanded by the brilliant General Agrippa. Following the defeat, Antony and Cleopatra fled back to Alexandria, their dreams of an empire shattered. Octavian's legions followed, closing in on the city. The end was tragic and dramatic. Hearing a false report of Cleopatra's death, a heartbroken Mark Antony took his own life. He was brought to Cleopatra's mausoleum, where he died in her arms. Left alone, defeated, and facing the humiliation of being paraded through Rome in Octavian's triumph, Cleopatra knew she had one final move to make. Octavian wanted her alive. Capturing the famous Queen of Egypt would be the ultimate symbol of his victory. But Cleopatra would deny him that satisfaction. According to the most famous account, she had an asp, a venomous snake, and a symbol of divine royalty in Egypt, smuggled to her in a basket of figs. She chose her own end, dying a queen's death, forever evading capture and control by her enemies. Her suicide on August 10th, 30 BC, marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and the end of the Hellenistic age. Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire. So, what is Cleopatra's legacy? Was she the manipulative seductress of Roman propaganda? Or was she a brilliant, cunning ruler who did whatever it took to protect her kingdom and her family in a world dominated by ruthless men? The truth, as always, is probably somewhere in the middle. She was a master of political theater, a skilled negotiator, and a fiercely intelligent leader who spoke multiple languages. She used her charm and wit as weapons, forming alliances with 2 of the most powerful men of her time to safeguard Egypt's independence. For over 2 decades, She held the might of Rome at bay, a feat no other ruler of her time could claim. She was a woman who dared to challenge the patriarchal power structure of the ancient world and almost succeeded in building her own empire. Her story reminds us that history is often written by the victors. For centuries, we only had the Roman version of Cleopatra. But by looking closer, we see a figure of incredible strength, resilience, and ambition. She was a queen who refused to be a pawn in anyone's game, a woman who defied empires. Her legend has endured not just because of her romances, but because of her unyielding spirit and brilliant mind. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the life of the legendary Cleopatra. What do you find most fascinating about her story? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the past, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next historical adventure. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Outro music fades in.